Have you ever thought about where your produce comes from? Most grocery chains receive produce from various local and national farmers. In fact, there are about 3.4 million farmers in the United States today. But of that staggering number, only 45,000 are Black farmers. At the Better Buggy, we are a proud group of Atlanta-based Black-owned farmers, selling produce locally and nationwide. Our easy-to-navigate online platform makes it easy for you to make a one-time purchase or to simplify your life by subscribing to our weekly produce box. Whichever frequency you choose, you can order with confidence, knowing you'll receive 100% organic farm-fresh produce. If you're looking for a thoughtful gift for a loved one that they'd actually find useful, be sure to pop by our online store where you can snag a gift card your recipient can use to order their own produce and t-shirts. Ready to start supporting local Black-owned farms and making healthier food decisions? Visit thebetterbuggy.com now to start shopping.
Ladies and gentlemen, this low birth rate certainly did not start with the pandemic. All right. It's been going on for quite some time, long before this happened. And you know why nothing happened during the pandemic, ladies and gentlemen? Because what's going on is not about a pandemic or anything else. It's genetics. That's what's going on. And people are not going to admit it. Number two, just think about this. If these folks really had the ability to increase the birth rate during the pandemic, at this point, they would have been shouting it through the roof. We all know that. So this is the Philadelphia Inquirer, July 14th, 2021. Baby boom or bust. How the pandemic has changed pregnancy and birth rates. Certainly didn't change it here in America. Early in the pandemic, there were predictions that stay-at-home orders would spawn a baby boom, which I definitely did not think that was going to happen. 9 months after folks were forced to hunker down and ride out a natural disaster, the birth rate suddenly spikes, explains an article on Fatherly, a parenting news website. Whether it's the boredom or the sense of impending doom, there's something about these situations that make people do what comes naturally. Well, guess what? A month after they put that out, that there was a rise in pregnancies, right? This is what they put out a month later. This month, Fatherly ran a sequel titled The CV-19 Baby Boom is a Lie. But it isn't a lie in the Philippines and other poor countries where families were already struggling to make ends meet. Lockdown did cause a spike in pregnancy, largely because women could not get birth control. Well, that's the Philippines, that's not the US. The pandemic has had profound impacts on pregnancy and birth rates, as well as birth outcomes, and the long term consequences could ripple through the economies, education, systems, and more. The thing is, some effects have, look, I think they want the birth rate to go up so bad that some people jumped the gun out here and wrote that they thought the pregnancy rate would go up in the US, and it just simply didn't happen. The thing is, some effects have defied expectations and some are hard to explain. For example, the rate of premature births declined late spring and summer around the world. Okay, so I'm just going to go down a little. One possible partial explanation: telemedicine visits eliminated frequent, infrequent, inconvenient, time consuming treks to the obstetrician office, which lessen expected mother stress. You think the in person care, which we've been doing forever, is beneficial, but maybe not in some ways, Berhella said in an interview. So the bottom line is we do not know why preterm births declined, but most people say this is real. It has been shown in Europe and Asia as well as the US. Now, I did an article where it said Black women actually did much better when they had Black obstetricians, or their doctor that was delivering the baby was Black. The baby had less complications, you know? And how does that happen just out of the blue? Hmm. All right, University of Pittsburgh Medical Center found at UPMC, McGee Women's Hospital, the rates of birth before 37 weeks of pregnancy declined by a percentage point, while among white women and those living in affluent neighborhoods, but not among Black women. U.S. fertility indicators, the annual birth rate and lifetime births per woman, have been falling fairly steadily for decades. And not here, but all over Europe. You know, I mean, this has been going on forever. It didn't just start with the pandemic, it's been going on long before that. Meanwhile, deaths have outpaced births in many parts of the country. In 2019, before the pandemic hit, deaths exceeded births in almost half of the US counties, and the nation added just 892,000 people, the lowest population growth in a century, according to the analysis of the University of New Hampshire demographer Kenneth M. Johnson. This trend was pronounced in farming, mining, and older industrial regions, as well as in counties with a lot of elderly residents. In 2020, the population shrank even more. The United States added 229,000 people, reflecting the tsunami of the pandemic, death, and diminished immigration. Johnson's update snap found. You know, they are doing those immigrants like dirt. I've been looking at the articles, y'all. You know, a lot of people think the immigrants are going to fill in the gap. No, they won't. A lot of them are complaining on many of these farms that they work on. They said during the heat waves, they want more breaks, they want water, and they just want some time in the shade. But so far, many of the owners of the farm just want them to continuously work. And many of them are upset because they said it's a dangerous situation for them, working nonstop in triple digits. That is crazy. But that's the expectation of the owner, you know. But see, it's not unusual for those immigrants to get up all together and leave. And then when harvest time comes, they won't have anybody that can come and harvest their land. So I think that's cruel. I don't think that's a bad request to give somebody water when it's triple digits outside and more breaks. But yeah, now you can see why nobody's rushing out here for these jobs, because these folks have that kind of mentality. All right. At the height of the pandemic restrictions in late March and early April, more than 310 million Americans were stuck at home. Modified shutdowns persist in many places for a year. Grappling with economic hardship and Zoom schooling, many couples decided to forego or at least postpone reproducing. The decline in birth could be the order of 300,000 to 500,000 fewer births in 2021, predicted a Brookings report published in December 2020. To help with that prediction, the authors, economists Melissa Carney and Philip Levine, extrapolated from two historical crises. So they were talking about birth rates during the Spanish flu and the Great Recession. Okay, so that's what they were looking at in comparison to what's going on now. During the Spanish flu pandemic in 1918-19, birth rates dropped sharply with each of the three waves of deaths. During the Great Recession in 2007 through 2009, the birth rate decreases, correlated with the increase in unemployment. Well, I guess if people aren't working, it's difficult to bring in new life, and everybody is at home collecting unemployment. An analysis of the Great Recession led us to predict that women will have fewer babies in the short term, and for some of them, a lower total of children over their lifetime, the author wrote. The short and long term distinction is important. If the rate of pregnancies this spring is inflated by pregnant women who postponed because of the pandemic, then not only could there be a rebound in births later this year, but a big spike. Yeah, hold your breath. That ain't gonna happen in America. On the other hand, there might not be a spike depending on how many women who postpone discover their biological clocks have run out. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think they know there's not going to be no big spike in births in America. Come on. It's been decades of this decline. And actually, the decline started way back in the 50s. So if you were going to see this big boom in births, you would have seen it long before now. It's not happening. And America is going above and beyond to ignore a pandemic. Okay, that's what they're doing right now. So pregnancies are on the back burners and people are not going out here. There's a huge job shortage in America. You got to take care of a baby, okay, for many years before they are grown enough to take care of themselves. But y'all, please tell me what you think. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.